to pay tribute to the noble Lord Alton for securing this important debate and for his sterling work in putting concern for human rights high on the agenda of this House. Article 18 of the 1948 UN Declaration is unambiguous in its guarantee of freedom of religion and belief. Yet we live in a world where those rights are all too frequently ignored. We've recently been remembering the horror of Srebrenica, where 20 years ago 8,000 Muslim men and boys were rounded up by Serb forces and ruthlessly murdered simply because they were Muslims. Last year, Sikhs commemorated the 30th anniversary of the brutal murder of thousands of Sikhs in India simply for being Sikhs. The Middle East has become a cauldron of religious intolerance and unbelievable barbarity. The number of Christians has dwindled alarmingly, and we hear daily of thousands fleeing religious persecution in leaky, overcrowded boats with little food or water. Where have we gone wrong in commerce or industry if a clearly desirable idea or initiative fails again and again? It's back to the drawing board. Today we need to ask ourselves, why the widespread abuse of the right of freedom of belief? This important right, like all others embedded in the UN Declaration, needs the total commitment of countries with political clout to make it a reality. Unfortunately, even permanent members of the Security Council frequently put trade and political alliances with countries with appalling human rights records above a commitment to human rights. There are many examples, but time permits me only to mention a couple relating to our own country. During a visit of the Chinese delegation in June last year, a government minister said, "We should not allow human rights to get in the way of trade." His statement undermining the UN Declaration went virtually unchallenged. At about the same time, we had a statement in your Lordship's House that the government were pressing for a UN-led inquiry into human rights abuse in Sri Lanka. Fine. But when I asked the government, would the government also support a similar inquiry into the mass killing of Sikhs in India, yes, I know it's a much bigger trading partner, I received the brusque reply that that is a matter for the Indian government. I've asked the question on 5 occasions. Why does the UK government regard the systematic killing of Sikhs in India to be of no concern to the UK, only to get the same dismissive non-response? My Lords, I ask it again today and hope that your Lordships and Britain's 500,000 Sikhs will get the courtesy of a proper, considered reply. The great human rights activist Andrei Sakharov said that we must be even-handed in looking at human rights abuse. My Lord, if our country, one of the most enlightened in the world, puts trade above human rights, it's easy to understand why other countries turn a blind eye to the rights like freedom of belief, a right so central in Sikhism that our 9th Guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur, gave his life defending the right of Hindus, a different religion to his own, against forced conversion by the then Mughal rulers. My Lords, we can list human rights abuse forever and a day without making a jot of difference if we and other great powers continue to put trade and power block politics above human rights. We start each day in this House with prayers to remind us to act in accord with Christ's teachings. He, like Guru Nanak, reminded us never to put material gain before concern for our fellow beings. We need to act on such far-sighted advice. I look forward to hearing my friend, the Bishop of Leicester, and wishing him well in his retirement.